What I'm going to show you today is a Goblin slash Pekka slash Goblin rating deal that I've been working. I've got one video up now. It's got a ton of hits. That is Goblin rating. Goblin knife is what you look it up under. Let me show you. We're going to start with goblins. Okay, now pause it. Alright, now what we're doing, look at the collectors. Okay, see the two-tone purple on the collectors? You've got light purple on top, dark purple on bottom. If you've got that combination, that means the collectors are very nearly full. If you've got a solid dark purple, they're slam full. Okay, now look at the gold collectors. See the box to the far right front? That's the collector box, call it. Don't know what it's actually called, but call it that. And that is, if that thing is full or nearly full, you've got a lot of material, a lot of loot that is outside the walls in the collectors instead of inside in the storage units. Okay, they don't do you any good with this raid if they are inside. You want stuff outside the walls, so you basically have to cruise through for quite a while to find a good base that you want to hit. Now let me show you this one. We'll go through. Okay, you see I've dropped a few giants. I gotta get this thing, there you go. I've dropped a few giants, and the giants are just there. You drop them ahead so that they draw fire, and then you drop 6 or 8 goblins. Alright, and then you work your way around. Where's next? Okay, over here, down the south side. Okay, drop 2 more giants. See those collectors? Now I dropped a line of goblins, drop some more goblins, and they're going in, and those babies are done. Goblins take no time at all to collect that. Okay, now, where am I going next? Okay, over to the west. I dropped a giant, waited till it took fire, and now I'm dropping goblins. Dropped another giant, second collector. That one's tough because there's a lot of defenses there, so I dropped a couple more giants, and I dropped some more goblins. And watch those collectors. They disappear. They evaporate. And there's another one, see? Didn't have to drop a giant there. They just went up and took care of it, but now they're dead. Okay, so now up here on the north side, dropped a few giants, and drop some gobs, and see what happens. Boom and boom, they're done. Now, all I've got left over here, didn't have to drop a giant for that collector, but I was out of goblins, as you can see down at my troop composition. So I dropped my king, I raged him, he went in, and he took out that elixir drill, and that was the end of it, and then I surrendered any second now. Alright, so now look, I had 30 or so thousand in that army. That is 723,000 in loot, 450 in dark, which you don't count for dark on this type of raid, but whatever you get, yay. You know, I mean, obviously if the drill is there and it's loaded up, you go for it. But look at that number, 720K. No, I'm sorry, 723K in loot with a 30,000 expense. Now, you are going to lose trophies. You can see I lost 20 here. So you have to alternate this with something else. You can't just run this raid, because before long you'll be at 0 basically. Your trophies will diminish every time, because very, very seldom will you get a star doing this raid. But it's very, very lucrative. If you're about ready to upgrade a troop, this is the way to go. I'm going to show you next. Let's see. Okay, that's that replay. I'm going to show you. Shoot, I got to get out of here. Hold on a second. I'll figure this out in a second. What I do is I alternate raids. Okay, I will do a couple of goblin raids, and then I will do a couple of Pekka raids. Here is a Pekka raid. Let me pause this. Okay, my troop composition is 6 Pekkas, 11 wizards. Now this is a low-level Th9. Just became a Th9. I use the same composition for my higher-level Th8. Th10, 11 couldn't speak to. I don't have one. I've got a very high-level Th9. I got a low-level Th9. I've got a high-level Th8. This is a 200 troop composition. So you have 6 Pekkas, 11 wizards, 3 wall breakers. And then, of course, in your clan castle, you have a Pekka and an earthquake, and you've got 3 of your own earthquake, plus a rage and heal, and your royals, your heroes. The reason, and this is kind of, it's not Goblin Knife the way most people describe Goblin Knife, but it's capable of being a Goblin Knife. You're basically looking for people that have a lot of dark that you can penetrate easily. I'm sorry, I got way off track there. This is not even the Goblin type of thing. I want to explain that. I missed it on the last one about the Goblin Knife. The last attack where I was using Giants and Goblins, I also have my heroes. I also have 4 Earthquakes. I also have a Rage and a Heal. So that in a Pekka in the Clan Castle, that way if you run into a place where you've got something like you've got a guy's got 3,000 dark all in his storage, you can actually penetrate the base, dive in, get that stuff. Sorry, I missed that on the first description. Anyway, this is Pekka Raid. So Pekka Raid is geared primarily toward dark. I make exceptions if there's a ton of loot, and I look at this one, there's only 1,000 dark. Don't really care about 1,000 dark. I typically shoot for 2,000, 2,500 or higher, but he's got 800,000 in regular loot, you know, between gold and regular elixir. So I'm going to go in there and just get what I can get. So let's hit play. We'll see how this works out. Okay, I'm going to Earthquake in, bust the walls up to the actual storage unit on the dark, drop my king, drop a Pekka to draw fire, and I'm going to drop some wizards to clean up that trash ring. You don't want your Pekkas distracted because then they'll walk around the outside of the base, and you don't want that. You want them to go into the base. So you make sure all the stuff that's going to distract them is out of the way first, and then you drop your Pekkas. And in my Clan Castle, I said Pekka, but actually this time I had 5 Giants. And they're going walkabout, of course. But I've raged my Pekkas into the core, and you see they're going. They're going. And I've healed them. And that's what I do, basically. I just run it right in front of them. A rage, a heal, another rage on my higher account where I've got 2 rages. And you're not looking for a 3-star. You're looking for a bunch of loot. Look at the loot gained over here. I'm at 418,000 right now. It's an expensive army. Typically, you lose on elixir, you gain on gold, and you gain on dark. This one had such a high level, I figured it was worth a shot. I got a bunch of gold, and I got some dark, a little bit above and beyond what I spent. I'm still happy with it because I got trophies. I'm making up for what I lost as far as trophies on my my Goblin rating. Alright, let me speed this up. I'm just going to put it on 4x so you can see what turns out. I've already got 2 stars, so I'm gaining a decent number of trophies to make up for what I lost when I was Goblin rating. The Goblin rating is really the lucrative point, but you've got to do both. Okay, so now I got 707,000 in loot, 616 in dark, which is kind of negligible because I spent about that on my Earthquake spells. So I basically broke even there, but I made all that extra loot. It's amazing. Alright, so now we're going to go back to the last attack. Like I said, I alternate, right? So, there we go. Back to Goblins. Alright. Now, pause this. Now, look at this again. You've got loaded up gold boxes to the right front of the gold mines. 2-tone or solid purple, in this case 2-tone collectors outside, mostly outside. You can see there's one inside right there, but they're mostly outside so you can get to them, because with Goblins and Giants you're not breaking through a whole lot of walls unless you want to, you know, waste some dark burning through. But this guy has a combination of 915, almost 915,000. Okay, so that's worth hitting, right? So let's hit play, and again I just drop Giant and some Goblins. Which way am I going? Okay, now I drop Giant, Goblins. And look, the Goblins take out one, they go right to the next while the Giant is dying there. Okay, so now, let's go over here. Where am I at now? I don't remember. Okay, there we go. Giants, Goblins, Giants, Goblins, and you just, I mean, you're basically, the loot evaporates from the base and goes right into your collectors, or your storages rather. Now again, this is not a trophy gaining, this is a trophy losing proposition. You're not going to gain anything. You have to alternate between something that is a guaranteed trophy gainer and this in order to be able to stay in, at the level you want to stay at, because otherwise you'll just keep diminishing and diminishing. You can't stick with just one raid. But this is a great way to make a ton of loot in a very short amount of time. Let's see there we go. Okay, on this one I got 560, almost 561,000 in loot, but I lost 18 trophies. I got no dark. So you have to take all that into account. But to alternate back and forth, I'll do a couple of Goblin raids and then a couple of Pekka raids to recoup what I lost. And I watch my numbers. I try to stay in the same bracket as best I can. Now, if it's like on a weekend night, holy cow, weekend nights are so lucrative. There's so much out there. I will just forego losing the trophies and say, okay, fine, whatever, and I will do Goblin raids, and just every hit is 7, 8, 900,000. Sometimes I think my record's like almost 1.3 million. It's like 1.28 or 1.27 million in loot from a Goblin raid that costs 30,000 to cook. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So anyway, if you saw something you liked, please like and subscribe. I'll be doing more of these as we go. I've got some modifications I'm going to do on this raid to try to make it a little more user-friendly for penetrating walls. Again, this is not actually a Goblin knife, but it's equipped to be a Goblin knife. I've got that in the title, I know. But it's not truly a Goblin knife, but it can be if you need it to be. And I think that's more versatile than actually cooking a Goblin knife. If you cook a Goblin knife, you're stuck with it. But if you cook this, you have the option. When you see what's there in the base, you can penetrate, you can do it, but you're equipped to handle what you're more likely to run into, which is what you just saw. Alright, thanks folks again. Like and subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night. Be safe.